Reddit volume 14. I feel like 14 is one of those weird numbers where you never really think of like that you're gonna get there. You know, it's an odd number. All right, enjoy. Which billionaire or millionaire has actually done good to the community? George Lucas. Most of that $4 billion he sold Star Wars to Disney for went into an educational charity. Mr. Beast. I think no matter if you like it that he monetizes the surgeries or donations, it is still something good that he is doing. Harris Rosen offered free daycare for anyone in the small town of Tanglo, Florida, and ended up offering to fund college tuition for any Tanglo resident to go to a Florida's public university. In 20 years, the graduation rate went from 25% to nearly 100%, and the crime rate was cut in half. People who are 25 years and above, what's the harshest life lesson you've had to learn? You can't make someone love you by giving them more of what they already don't appreciate. Your friends from high school or college will disappear if you don't make the effort to stay in touch. Sometimes if you risk it to get the biscuit, I have not heard that in a while, you don't get the biscuit and actually you destroy your life. Checking all the boxes required to be successful does not mean you will actually be successful. Sometimes the problem is you. There will be people who just don't like you, who might even detest you, and you will never find out why. What started out as an internet rumor that ended up being infamously true. Rob Ford, years ago while mayor of Toronto, was rumored to be a crack user, and he was. Michael Jackson writing the music for Sonic 3? He actually did, but was never credited on the game because it would breach his contract with his record label. That North Korea hacked Sony Pictures because of the Interview movie. Random dude is playing Xbox Live and overhears an NFL player talking to his agent about a trade. Trade is confirmed a few days later. There was jokes for years about Bill Cosby being some sort of weirdo. What is something good going on in the world that a lot of people aren't aware of? An eastern black rhino was just born, a complete surprise to the rangers who protect the 1,000 remaining in the wild. The global movement to plant trees is quietly making strides. India set a world record by planting over 66 million trees in a single day. Researchers/scientists have been working with a bacteria to fight cancer. There are about 10 to 12 million people in the United States who quilt. Most of them belong to quilt guards that donate to homeless shelters, veteran shelters, other types of places where people need blankets. What's the biggest green flag that could be misinterpreted as a red flag? I thought my husband was full of shit because he was so nice to me while dating. 6 years later, it turns out he's just genuinely a good person. Overly kind. Someone that loves and appreciates you like a golden retriever. Some people distrust happy and warm people. Regret after screwing up could be misinterpreted as love bombing from an abuser. Being able to own up and speak to personal faults and failings could easily be misread at the beginning stages of relationships. Clear boundaries. If you come in with emotional immaturity, boundaries can seem cruel, arbitrary, and alienating. What's the most small town thing you've witnessed? We have a village Facebook page. Every time the ice cream man drives into the village, the entire page goes ballistic. A guy robbed a bank and everyone knew immediately who he was. Town Drunk was paralyzed and used a motorized wheelchair to get around. I was driving home on Saturday night and said Town Drunk was passed out in his wheelchair doing circles almost directly in the town square. The traffic on the main street of my town is so sparse. Two drivers going opposite directions can stop and talk to each other for a few minutes without causing any problems. Has anyone ever tried to kill you? How'd it go? Happened when I was a kid. Two boys in the neighborhood wondered what would happen if they hung someone and they chose me to hang. Kid came to school with a gun in his backpack and list of names. Kid was one of my friends. Not super close friend, but my name was first on the list. A serial killer by the name of Dale Horsner. I was out walking at night when he pulled up on me. I ran into an orange grove before he was able to shoot, and that night he killed a young woman walking to the apartment complex that I lived in. What movie is really sad when told from the villain's perspective? Bee movie. A bee stole this man's girlfriend. Mrs. Doubtfire, because imagine how scared Pierce Brosnan was when Mrs. Doubtfire tried to kill him with pepper. If you think about it, most romance movies that center on the main character being in love with a person in a relationship, the villain is a person acting defensive and jealous. I'm not saying Scar was right for killing his brother and running the Pride Lands into the ground, but they call him Scar because he had a physical deformity. Before he was nicknamed Scar, his parents named him Taka, which means bitch. What is something that you cannot believe modern technology hasn't fixed yet? The reverse microwave, to allow me to chill a beer from room temperature to fridge temperature in under 2 minutes. My TV should have a button on it that pings the remote when it's buried 8 feet into my couch. The PA system on airplanes. I still can't understand a word the pilot says. That we don't just have universal interchangeable batteries for big devices like we do for small devices. I've been driving for over 30 years and I still can't believe in all that time they haven't invented economic economically viable lane markings that are visible in the rain. What product is the biggest scam, but people like it anyway? Car dealerships. $200 upcharge on a brand new car for nitrogen in the tires. I'm sure I read once that pre-made cinema popcorn was one of the biggest price marks up of any product in the world. Printer ink cartridges, especially new printers that don't work if you use third-party inks. I feel like streaming platforms are starting to swing into scam territory by baiting everyone into joining with no ads and a low price. Anything purporting to cleanse your body. As long as you've got a functioning liver and kidneys, you're already cleansing toxins from your body. Which TV show has a 10 out of 10 pilot? The Boys. My husband planned to watch it and I had no interest, but it started off pretty insane as I walked through and caught that opening scene. The pilot episode to ER is one of the best things ever put on film. Invincible, especially the ending of the first episode. Gravity Falls. Tourist Trapped perfectly introduces the main characters in the show and shows what it's all about. The X-Files. Just enough doubt/misdirection to keep you unsure whether aliens are real until the very end. Lost has a strong opening. Firefly is great too, and we never got a second season. What cheap/terrible holiday bonuses are people starting to receive from work this year? Work in sales. Entire team got the same book on how to be better at sales. I used to work at the Cheesecake Factory, and one year they gave everyone a cheesecake from Costco. Getting laid off. We got a mandatory work party which cost each of us $25. Boss sent out a $10 Starbucks gift card the day he laid off 10% of our staff. We got told we were getting nothing, and the management excuse was, well, not everyone celebrates Christmas, so it wouldn't be fair. What claims are just not backed by historical facts? Marilyn Monroe never said, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. There has never been a Viking helmet found that had a horn attached to it. Executioners/hangmen didn't wear hoods. People knew who they were. That ancient people thought the earth was flat. We have records from around 430 BC where Greek philosophers spoke of the earth being a sphere. The idea that medieval/early modern people were filthy and had poor hygiene, they even cleaned their teeth by chewing split twigs. What is the most incredible human feat of all time? Going from the first airplane to space in less than 60 years. Coming back from the moon. Coming up with the laws of motion and, as a side gig, invented calculus at 26 years old. Creating instant worldwide communication. Just over 100 years ago, it would take 3 months to send a hi from Australia to your brother in Canada. Getting to Costco on Xmas Eve 2022, finding an empty parking spot, walking to the toy section, and finding the last item on your kid's wish list. What has been your biggest I really thought I knew this person moment? A guy I was kinda irregularly working with for 2 to 3 years as a student was one day wanted by Interpol. When my parents divorced, my dad introduced his girlfriend to my sister and me. A day later, I had a friend of 18 years overdose on heroin. None of us knew he did drugs. Minor compared to all of you, but I dated a guy who bragged about how smart and successful he was and made me feel like an idiot for sticking with one job for 5+ years. It turns out he was continually job hopping due to performance issues, bad decisions, and boredom. What was the, seriously, gift you opened this Christmas? A personalized gift with my name misspelled. My sister and I bought each other the same Orchard Lego set. It was a good seriously moment. My grandparents gave my parents a framed picture of a random little boy and nobody knows who it is. Edit, no, it's not the one that came with the frame. A shoe size measuring tool, like a full-on metal one that you'd see at a shoe store. The AI generated targeted shirts my grandparents order off of Facebook. That's so sick though. I got put into a 10K run, unbeknownst to me. So who ruined Christmas morning and how did they do it? Grandma forgot where she hid the presents. Haven't found them yet. I gave my little girl a drone. It went up in the air the first time and just kept going and going and going. That was like 8 hours ago. Could still be going. Grandparents told everyone how they get one person something really nice each year and that it was finally my turn. They gave me the really nice big green egg and patio desk I was saving for. Then after they looked real nice to everyone and everyone else was gone, they told me it was actually a loan and I would need to pay them to keep it. What is denied by everyone, but is actually 100% real. Sometimes your teacher actually does hate you, regardless of what your parents say. Americans already pool money for healthcare. They just do it through a wholly unnecessary greedy middleman that grossly jacks up the price and denies care. That their job is secure and they'll never be let go. I made it through multiple layoffs, including during the pandemic, only to be laid off last week. You can do absolutely everything right and still fail. It can't get any worse. It can always get worse. Most evil, powerful people are actively supported and encouraged by everyday good people. What seems to be universally hated on Reddit, but is actually popular in the real world. Going outside and doing things. Staying together with your spouse after a minor inconvenience. Video games. Most game subreddits, the community shits on the game. Although the majority of the gamers for those games aren't on Reddit and actually enjoy the game. Yeah, isn't that just a massive thing on Reddit that like any community eventually turns against the topic? Helping others. No, you're not obligated to turn down your music at 8 p.m. so your next door neighbor can get their newborn to sleep. But come on, what phrase needs to die immediately? Just because you end a rant with do better does not mean you're right. Most corporate lingo, but touch base makes me want to rip my spine out. Nobody wants to work anymore. Motherfucker, nobody wants to pay anymore. Not a phrase, but everyone is misusing gaslighting nowadays and it's cringy. Louder for the people in the back. People don't like me because I tell it how it is. POV followed by a video that is not, in fact, POV. But people aren't ready for that conversation is usually said about something the internet is already having that conversation about. What show failed because someone left the show? Walking Dead ain't Walking Dead without Rick Grimes. Glee after Corey Monteith died. It was generally bad after high school ended, but he was definitely the piece that held them all together. They kept going after they left school? That 70s show, replacing Eric with Randy was truly awful. House of Cards, when Spacey left. A shit person, but an amazing actor. Really unfortunate. 2.5 Men. I know Charlie didn't leave, but it was never the same. Top Gear. Clarkson, May, and Hammond were the show. So fucking true, man. What's one thing you accidentally found out that now everyone has to know? Cows have best friends. Love that for them. That the Mission Impossible theme song is literally the letters MI in Morse code? That is fucking sick. Sudden hearing loss. It happens overnight in one ear. Can happen at any age and they don't know the cause. Robins see their reflection in your glasses and go into attack mode. Snakes can fart and it's incredibly loud. People who use sign language have accent. What? What's quietly disappeared in the past 20 years without many people noticing? The sense symbol. Variety. Everything is becoming the same 10 mega corporations, just waiting for Ford, Meta, and Pepsi to merge. Boredom. People used to spend so much time with nothing to occupy their minds aside from their own thoughts while standing in line, sitting in waiting rooms, toy stores. Kids growing up nowadays don't know what it's like to go to a toy store. They have to settle with the toy aisle at Target or Walmart. Newspaper vending machines. I used to see them everywhere as a kid. Saw one the other day and realized I hadn't seen one in years. People over 40, what's one thing you regret the most in your younger years? Not enjoying it more. Didn't realize how fast my younger years would pass. Worrying about what other people think. Posted from a deleted account. Worrying so much. In hindsight, all that stuff seems silly now. Smoking for several years. Waste of money and not good for the health. Deferring too readily to the judgment of others. I had the naive belief that other people had my best interest at heart. Not enjoying being single. Looking back, my social interactions were centered around finding the one. I should have just enjoyed getting to know people. People who refuse to let police search their vehicles during a normal run-of-the-mill traffic stop? What happened? The one time I've declined it went like this. The cop. Why does your vehicle smell like marijuana? Me. I wasn't aware it did. Cop. May I search your vehicle? Me. No. Cop. Okay, have a nice day. I'm an attorney and politely declined a vehicle search in Maryland. After declining the search, they brought the canine which inevitably hit after I saw the officer give the dog a signal by tapping on the door 3 times. I'm in law enforcement and know that many police officers trained in a backdoor signal to drug canines that manufacture probable cause to search. What was hugely hyped up but flopped? Zuckerberg's weird avatar world. Quibi, 1.75 billion blown in 6 months on a streaming service no one wanted. NFTs. 3D televisions were presented as the next huge thing. There was a massive amount of hype being able to watch 3D movies and games from the comfort of your living room. Target in Canada. Heard so many people addicted to the store in the US. Everyone was excited to have it here, but it flopped. Yeah, what's weird is Target in the US is huge and Kmart is like nothing, but in Australia it's the exact opposite. What criminal committed an almost perfect crime and what was the thing that messed it up? Salam Kara, who single-handedly stole 2.3 million in coins one by one. He kept a low profile for 13 years, but blew it by buying a $1 million house in the early 90s. That one dude who robbed a bank by hiring a bunch of people from Craigslist to show up wearing the same outfit he would have gotten away, but a homeless man saw him do a practice run the day before. The Dunbar armed robbery, the largest cash heist in US history. They set up a house party as an alibi, used the keys to get into the cafeteria, and waited there until an employees came in on break, then rushed and subdued them without firing a shot or all raising an alarm. 2 years after the robbery, one of the men paid a real estate broker with a stack of money still wrapped in the original currency straps. After being arrested, he cracked under interrogation. What's an immediate red flag that you are in a dangerous neighborhood? A grown man riding a child's bike down the middle of the road. Asking for a cab to the area, and the cabbie explains you'll have to get out while he's moving because he won't stop in that area. The gas station cashier is behind 1-inch bulletproof glass. Cops in Atlanta on foot patrol telling us that they don't let anybody hang out on the stoop of a building after midnight, even if you were just smoking cigarettes. A few minutes later, some guy walked up and told us we needed to move along, then lifted his shirt to show a pistol. You could permanently change the price of one item to $1. What is it? $500 Visa gift cards. School meals. I remember when school meals were like £2 and now it's about £5 for a stale sandwich. All medications that specifically keep people from dying. Lead Viagra costs $287 a pill, so cancer meds can be cheap. Cancer treatment. Regardless of the type of cancer, the number of surgeries or treatments. Medicine. All of it. Everyone should be able to afford their medicine. Insulin, painkillers, Xanax, whatever you need to live a normal life. Who has most successfully milked what should have been 15 minutes of fame? The D'Amelios. Can't believe they got a Kardashian wannabe show on Hulu. Okay, alright man. That convict with the blue eyes or whatever. Bad Baby. Catch Me Outside, how about that? One episode on Dr. Phil. She just proved receipts for $52 million on OnlyFans and bought a house in Florida for $6.1 million cash. Bella Porch. She is one of the biggest TikToks ever and all she did was shake her head. Yeah, okay. TikTok just lives in Reddit's mind rent-free. What's a fact that could save your life? Teach your kids that if they're ever separated from you, to find any closest adult. The likelihood of the next person you walk up to being a pedophile is slim to none. You lose heat 20 times faster when wet versus being dry. Don't pull a knife or anything else out of a puncture wound. The object may very well be keeping you from bleeding out. If you fall through the ice, the dark spot is the way out. The sun reflects off the ice surface. The spot you entered has no ice or reflection, so it will be dark. Losing weight without trying could very well be cancer. What's something that's painfully obvious but people will never admit? Humans hate to admit to feeling jealous, yet it's usually very clear to those around you. Everybody picks their nose. It's what happens next that sets us apart. The vast majority of people know exactly what their problems are and what they need to do to fix them. They just feel too unequipped or overwhelmed to follow through. Most people are parakeets and mindlessly repeat whatever is regurgitated in their environment or social milieu. That life waits for no one. Life is so short and it just ends and we're all not gonna matter one day. So move on and do whatever the fuck you want in this life. What is your horror story from DNA tests like 23andMe? One of my cousins was not really my cousin. My cousin died in Vietnam and this guy that was in his platoon or whatever took his identity. My grandfather did not die when my dad was 4 like we always thought. Instead, he faked his death, walked 1,500 kilometers to the other end of the country, married a 16-year-old girl and had 7 more children. Turns out grandpa had 2 families. One of my cousins took a 23andMe test to find out that our maternal grandfather is also her dad. People have reached a 9 or 10 on the pain scale. What happened? Bacterial meningitis. My brain felt like a contained explosion that was trapped, reverberating my skull, but it wanted out and constantly let me know about it. Ruptured large intestine. Morphine helped a lot. Had tubes in my ears when I was a kid. When I was 6, our new family doctor told me that the tubes had fallen out and that I could shower, bathe, etc. without my earplugs from then on. Mum was skeptical, so she just washed my hair in the sink that night just to make sure everything was okay. I woke up in the middle of the night screaming bloody murder. I had to have emergency surgery to remove the tubes that were very much still in my eardrums. If you woke up tomorrow a billionaire, what would you do with the money? I'd honestly just lay in bed and catch up on some well-needed sleep first. Go to a 5-star hotel, take a shower and wash away the poverty one last time. Start a podcast on how you too could become an overnight millionaire. Disappear. Bet it all on red. Can you imagine losing all of that money? Swim in it like Scrooge McDuck. Buy a bunch of apartments and rent them at affordable rates to try to drive the local cost of living down. Put it in the bank and get ludicrous amounts of interest. 2 chicks at the same time. What is the most out of touch thing an older person has told you? My dad at Christmas. If I need, I can sell my pain meds on the black market and make a fortune. Every time my mother says I read it on Facebook and acts like it's cold hard truth. My dad visited me in the restaurant I was working in at the moment during peak hours and said, just tell your boss you're taking a break now and sit with me. When my mum was complaining that my daughter never takes her advice on parenting, I asked her if she took the advice of her older relatives offered when she was raising me. Her answer without any irony was, but their advice didn't apply because times were different back then. What is the clearest case of living in denial you've seen? Buddy keeps complaining that normal guys won't respond to him on dating apps and keeps getting hit on by creepy old dudes. You're nearly 60. My friend has been talking to this man for 4.5 years. They've hung out maybe 5 times and they usually just hook up and he leaves. He only texts her at certain hours of the day because of his work schedule. I wholeheartedly believe he has a whole wife and kids. Ex-mum moved to Vegas from Europe. Went broke gambling over 10 or so years. Then she got injured on a casino escalator and was compensated more than fairly with a life-changing amount of money. Guess who went broke again? What product is a massive scam that everyone buys into? Those bracelets with a sticker on them claiming to align your magnetic field or something? Those e-commerce guys that sell their guru courses on how to make 10k plus a month? Companies that sell stars or naming stars. No one owns stars. You can't own a star and there is no governing body who authorizes the naming and ownership of stars. Commercials on premium TV channels. Don't we pay not to have commercials? Ear candles. Their wax looks like earwax so people believe the candle sucked it out of your ear. Does anyone remember NFTs? What celebrity rumor did you hear privately long before the news broke? I was aware Carrie Fisher had likely passed before the plane she passed on had taxied into the gate at LAX. Aviation is a small world. A guy I knew was on tour as a roadie for Whitney Houston, and he reported that she was on crack years before it was common knowledge. Saw Bruce Willis's condition in 2015 working on a movie with him. He had giant cue cards for every scene and still blew it often. Someone in Vegas on Reddit said Britney Spears would order a lot of flowers to design bouquets to pass time because she wasn't allowed to go out much and it seemed she was very lonely and isolated. Which musician did you stop listening to because you found out they sucked as a person? Chris Brown. I will never stop bashing that. Okay, poor choice of words. Azalea Banks. It was the sacrificing chickens in her closet and boiling her dead cat for me. I used to love 30 Seconds to Mars, but Jared Leto ruined it. Yeah, he'll do that. As of recently, I can't listen to a Lizzo song without thinking about the workplace allegations. Anti-flag. I'm often on the side of separating the art from the artist, but it's a lot more difficult when the artist's actions go directly against what their art represents. What's the creepiest thing you've seen in broad daylight? A man on the sidewalk looked around and then pulled down a ski mask and crept into a building as I drove past. Went to eat at a restaurant. The hostess sat us at our table, said, "Enjoy your meal," and proceeded to drop dead right there. I look out my front window and see a lump on my lawn that looks out of place. I keep staring at it and become more and more convinced it is a dude in a ghillie suit. Then a bunch of neighborhood kids run up to the lump and the actual factual real dude in a ghillie suit gets up. What's a small everyday inconvenience that you believe should have been solved by now? The extremely poor audio quality of fast food drive-through speakers. Music volume in movies being much louder than the dialogue. Commercial blaring louder than the feature show. There is an actual reason behind that. Google it, it's too much for me to explain. Cereal bags not having a zipper closure. All wireless controller devices should have an easy way to locate them. Those stickers on product that leave sticker residue when pulling them off, so now you have sticky goo with paper bits on your cup. Uploading your resume, then having to enter everything on the resume on the next screen. What's the most absurd conspiracy theory you've ever heard? That the Powerball lottery in the US was created to catch time travelers? The World Trade Center was a hoax. I don't mean the planes, I mean they thought the whole damn building was made up. The moon is a hologram because the real moon was blown up by nukes and we would apparently just all go insane if we looked up at the sky and didn't see a moon, so they had to make one. Lindsay Lohan actually had a twin sister who played the twin in The Parent Trap, but between filming and release, the twin died in a car accident, so they marketed the film to make you think Lindsay played both roles. There were no gunmen in Dallas. JFK's head just did that. Thank you for watching. At the moment, while I'm recording this, I'm getting ready to render this video and then I'm gonna go pack my bags because I'm going on a holiday for a week. So I hope everyone over that Christmas period in January, you're able to find some time to relax. It's very nice. I am going to go either read a book or drink myself into oblivion. Let's see where the mood takes me. thank you very much. Have a good one. I will see you next time and also next week in the next video or on a stream. No, wait, hold on. I'm not done. I'm streaming. I am streaming in a couple days after this video comes out. Go see the channel. We'll be streaming. Join my Discord and you get the updates. Okay, now I'm done. All right, bye now. That's the wrong button.